Um, Before we adopt the agenda, I would like the board to confirm that, the resolution for 701 West 135th Street, is on the agenda in its appropriate place based on the, committee meeting that we had on Tuesday.
I second the motion.
Okay, motion been second, it is on the agenda, we vote, vote,
Chair.
you have a question on this item?
The agenda, yes, I just want to, if we have time there for.
Okay, we're gonna, we're still on this, yeah. A vote,
Yeah, so
Okay.
we need to vote on that.
I request unanimous consent.
somebody second?
Tiago.
Tiago, second, okay. Any dissenting voices on this item? No, hearing none, we'll move forward with,
Okay.
it remains on the agenda. Correct, item number 601 West 135th Street. 701. Okay, motion to adopt the minutes from April 18th. Second, minutes have been adopted. Before we move to introduction of new members, we have the pleasure of having captain of the 30th precinct and a new XO in the house. If you want to say a few words.
Yes, sure.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
No problem. Good evening. I'm Captain Rose, sort of newly assigned commander to the 30th precinct. I've been there since December. This is my first community board 9 meeting, general meeting. Last month I was scheduled to be here and scheduling conflict came up. But I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to meet everybody that's here. Just to give you a little bit about myself, I'm new to the 30th, but not new to Manhattan North. I worked in the 19th precinct prior to this and in the Manhattan North Borough, just prior to coming to the 30th precinct. So in Manhattan North Borough, I got a little taste of all the areas in Manhattan North, so I knew a little bit about a lot of places. Now I have to know a lot about a little. So, yeah, I welcome, I tell everybody, if you've been to my community council meetings, I welcome your comments and your criticism. I don't see the criticism as a bad thing. Nobody's perfect. And if I don't hear that, then we can't correct it forward. So, I pride myself on my accessibility. I'm a little bit on the geriatric side of millennialism, so I'm always on my phone. So if you send me a text or an email, I'm gonna get back to you pretty quickly. And tangible things we can fix, we'll do it right away. Long-term things, we'll put a policy in place to make the solution happen. So I'll give everybody my contact information. If you have questions, I guess we'll probably take them at the end, or how do you want to do that? I don't want to take it. All right. If you have questions on the side, I'll stick around after, and I'll make sure you have my contact information. Okay? All right, it's a pleasure meeting everybody. Just real quick before I sit down, I just want to introduce Captain Francisco Lopez. Even newer to the field than I am. He's going to be helping me out. He just got there today, actually yesterday was the first day. Today's the first day in the 30th precinct. So I'm happy to have him as a partner, and we're going to move together in the right direction. Thank you. Oh, yeah, sorry.
I just want to say, because we always have something to say when you guys are out of order, and I just wanted as public record, and our meeting with the mayor, voice concerns about 1 Rochester Square and that 136 to 137th Street. I understand it's a work in progress, but it is looking different, and I just want to say.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. Montefiore Square Park definitely has our attention, my attention, has the attention of the precinct and everybody that works there. So we're going to keep it going. I just wanted to also let everybody know, if you're familiar with Officer Espinal from the 30th Precinct Community Affairs Officer, we love her dearly. We miss her, but she's moved on to different permanent assignment within the police department. So she's no longer in that capacity with the 30th Precinct, but I'm sure you're all familiar with Officer Stewart here. He's going to try his best to fill her shoes. No, I'm all kidding aside. He's good. He's going to step up into that role, and we're going to look to fill another spot. But in the meantime, we have another officer that's been on loan from us from the Manhattan North Borough, Officer Tanan. You'll see one of them out there. They're both very accessible too. So anything you need in 30th precinct, they're going to take care of.
If I may.
Yeah, Joyce, go ahead.
Welcome, commanding officer of the 30th precinct of the council. Now I can call you Commander Rose. Yes, I did receive a call from Captain Rivera
Okay, good.
that she has stepped down.
Yes.
So that you are now the substantive commanding officer.
Yep.
Of the 30th precinct. Yes, just like my sister has said, you have been working hard and we have been seeing results. So you're in good hands. And Stumer as well have been working very hard, so we know we're in good hands. We wish Officer Espinal the best of luck, as well as Captain Rivera. We pray that she will recover as quickly as possible. It's very sad what's happened to her,
Yes.
but it's great working with you all, and thank you for coming tonight.
Yeah, of course. So I thank you for bringing it up. I have a very strong team that they let me build in the 30th precinct very quickly. I feel very supported by the patrol borough and the department overall. They really set me up for success there. So every connection that I make at a meeting like this is part of that team also. So like I said, any way that we can help each other, I look forward to doing that.
Thank you.
But I don't want we got everything.
We have a very long agenda. Okay. Next on the agenda is the introduction of new board members. We have 12 new board members, like I said before. 13, sorry, one just came today. We're very pleased to have those people on board, and as tradition, we have each person stand and say a little bit about themselves, why they want to be on the board, their background, and things like this. All right, so if you pull the names off.
Sure. First, and if I mispronounce your name, please correct me now so that we can learn it early. Nikaris Camilo. Or Nikaris. Okay. Gretchen Connolly. Gretchen. Okay.
So who was here?
Got it. Felipe Castillo.
I wanted to.
Pleasure to be here, but meet everybody. I've been to meetings before. I recognize a lot of faces, recognize a lot of names. Something about me. Immigrant, not raised in I came when I was a teenager with a family in South America. And yeah, but I've been in the States for 25 years now. So happy to be part of the community. Thank you, Ron.
Thank you. Welcome.
Justin Dent. Vanessa Kaufman. Hi.
My name is Vanessa J. Kaufman. Can you speak up or no?
A little bit louder. Hear you at home.
My name is Vanessa J. Kaufman. I've lived in the neighborhood all my life. I was brought up in 86, near high school. The parents have owned the property at West 149th Street for 53 years, or something like that. My parents were community oriented, get told to give our position up. Thank you. Well,
Thank you for joining us. Welcome. Ernesto Graham. Ernesto. Okay, not online. Joshua Christopher. Okay. Julia Nagel. Hi.
Really confident with that. And then over the nonprofit, local thing, I'm very thankful. Thank you all, and bring everything I can.
Welcome. Daniel Clark. Okay. Veronica Savage. Sojourner Collier. Essence White. Hi.
New Yorker, born and raised in St. Cloud, Samuel Lane, Harlem, 114th Street, in many community affairs. During high school, I had the opportunity to be involved in community work center, and it is a great privilege to now be involved in community work. Currently, with the Bethesda Hospital, I work with community group there, so I'm looking to merge and to build some health bridges with community, and I see that's something that they need, so. Great titles.
That's all.
Chris Johnson.
Oh, Chris Johnson.
I am probably the newest board member as of about 45 minutes ago. I transferred out from California, in grad school in Boston, and I came to you guys. My background is technology, all of the I companies and the tech companies you can think about. Got to California and I've been in New York City for about 12 years. My specialty is technology and marketing. I've done a lot of community work, which I probably interact with a number of you. And I have some skills in housing advocacy to do a bunch of. So I look forward to working with everyone. You know, my love the youth for how many years, many, and of course, you, many years. So looking forward to working with everyone. Thank you.
Welcome. Now that's it.
Okay. Oh, it's easy work.
What's your name?
Nicholas Vito.
Nicholas Camilo, welcome. If you want to introduce yourself, folks were just saying their name.
Put you on the spot.
Yeah, where you live, why you joined, and what your interests are.
I'm sorry I'm late. And it's Nicholas Camilo. I was raised in 43rd Street. Looking forward to being part of this meeting. So,
Thank you. Thank you.
I think that's it. I will move on to my chair's report. This month is not in your package. Had some family issues that took me away from doing my regular job, so I will kind of ad-lib what's going on. Again, welcome to all the new board members that are here. I often think of the community board being the eyes, the ears, the voice, and the advocate for this community. Something I take very seriously, and the people in this room as well do that. So as you go about your process and other things, keep your eyes open, report back to us things that you see that might improve, things that we need to take a look at, and we can move forward with that. You'll be assigned, those that are here, to 2 committees. We'll ask you for your suggestions where you might want to go onto a committee, but we have to balance our committee so you don't always get your first choice. But we definitely look at your skill set and try to assign you based on that, based on need. So, like I said, just welcome to the board. A lot has gone on in the last 30 days. One being, we had a second annual senior resource fair. Great success that I hear people still talking about. So, round of applause. Our 2 co-chairs, the team, and the board staff that really made this come together. So glad to hear that. Next, big item that's been on radar and my ear and on my phone is the protest at City and Columbia University. So they're in this room and outside this room, varying opinions of what is right and what is wrong. My concern was safety for the residents of the area, safety for the students of the school, and make sure that we weren't too much infringed upon. I know there were some issues. I have board members that live right in the area that would call me, and I get updates every other day probably. I reached out to Captain Rose. I actually visited, I've been to the site at least 4 or 5 times, including today. Captain Rose and I met there last Friday before last. We talked about the barricades that were there and some of the protocol around that, which was a higher level we spoke about. But he did get back to me the same day, which I respect, and people call. I was down there yesterday when barricades were kind of moved back. I reached out to a sergeant there explaining that they moved them, but they didn't move them to the building. So people were walking the street. Myself and one of the officers moved some. I saw a sergeant, they moved some others, and we'll keep an eye on it. I know it's a lot to do with safety. I understand that protocol. I met with the provost, City College, on Wednesday about a different issue about community engagement, but I brought this up as well. He took a walk and wanted to see what was going on with the barricades also. So a lot of it's precaution. I asked that the barricades would be moved back to 140th, which is where City College starts, but they explained at that point they could not do that because they needed a buffer. I just had to respect that. Hopefully going forward, barricades will be down and we'll get back to what we call normal. But I just wanted the people to know that we weren't sitting idly by, myself and other people in this board, or talking to people behind the scenes. We don't need to put everything on social media that we do, but we did get results. There was also a thing about food truck that had to be moved off campus. It was on the corner of 141 in Congress, which kind of was blocking traffic. I made a call to captain at the 26. The next day that truck was moved away from it. So there is results. And like I said, everything is not public knowledge. Some stuff is behind the scenes, but it gets done. So the next thing is, which has been a big topic for me and other people, St. Nicholas Avenue between 145 and 140. That corridor, double park, triple park cars parked on the sidewalk and the bus stop. We have police vehicles from the Transit Division 3 that constantly park in the bus stops. And I've tried to have this conversation. Captain Rosa and I have spoken about it, but it's involved several different entities, so we're working together on that. I bounced it up to the commander of Manhattan North, Chief Stevenson, and we hope to have conversation about this involving MTA, the 30th Transit Division 3, and the 2 charter schools there as well. So we clean this up. I drive that path every day.
Yeah.
Even today, as I drove, I had to wait for someone to go by so I could get into the one lane to go through. I drove the bus earlier this week. I stepped off the curb into the bike path to get on the bus. It's definitely a concern. Captain Rosa and I have spoken about it, but like I said, one level up.
Yeah.
The umbrella, I think, will really help.
Yeah,
to solve some.
that's just something that's gonna take, we need to find a long-term solution for that. Because we could go there and write tickets and move the cars right now, but tomorrow they're gonna be right back there. So we just gotta get the right people in the conversation and find a solution to get them moved permanently. But we're working on it. We'll work on it.
I just have one question. Have the schools, spoken to you? Are they?
No, haven't. I reached out to the
Okay,
schools, so I'm waiting for them to get back to me.
All right.
We're hoping to have a full discussion because
Yes,
they're part of the problem.
yes, exactly.
And Palm School of the Arts.
Yes,
So parents double park
yes.
right there, so
Yeah.
it has to be a broad thing, but ticketing unfortunately helps sometimes, especially for the fish market and some other places, where people come and park to stay there. We're working. Yes. And,
What about the task force that we talked about?
well, that will be the charter school and everybody together, working together. So that's what we're looking at. I'm starting with, Chief Stevenson, Assistant Chief, and then we'll put the task force together. Right? That's about all I have, but I have 2 other quick items. One, I want to thank members that are not here that have either resigned or their term limits have passed and they have offered a lot to this community and a lot to this board. They're not here, but we have quite a few that have gone on to do other things, you know, just change in their lifestyle, so they're no longer here. And lastly, I want to congratulate one of our members, Thiago, who has been accepted to Columbia University. But now we have one of our own in the house. In writing a recommendation for him, his mom sent me a list of his accomplishments, and it was a long list of great stuff. I mean, I was like, there's no way they can't accept him. So made a call, sent an email, and based on what your work, not what I wrote, based on your work and what you've done to this point, that's why you're accepted to Columbia. So all the best of luck, and hopefully you can take. Yeah. Just reminded, for new members who are here or maybe online, please check our bylaws and our attendance policy. Our meetings are in person unless there's some really difficult circumstances, and then you will do Zoom. But we are pretty strict about in person. We had to remove a few people this year. It's not a pleasant thing, but we have business to do here. We need everybody here to do that business. So check the bylaws, check the attendance. That will help guide you forward as we move that way.
And if you need to join by Zoom, you must get permission ahead of time. It's not show up when you feel like it on Zoom. It's, you've got to write to either the chair in the office or the committee chairs and the chair in the office to request an accommodation to meet virtually for that particular meeting. So I'm sure youth will send around our policy paper on it. State law requires us to have in-person quorum.
We can't do business without a quorum. We could have all these people tonight. If we don't have a quorum, we can't vote. Same thing in the committees. Have a quorum, we can't vote, can't do full business. So it's extremely important that people attend in person.
And if you are attending virtually, state law also requires that you have your camera on. We don't write the laws, we just have to abide by them.
Thank you. That being said, we'll move on to the treasurer's report.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Good evening. Treasurer's report is in your packet, and as you can see from the reports, it's just for our general for our business and cleaning, storage, cleaning, strictly services. I'm sorry.
No louder, no louder.
The treasurer's report is free and is in your package, and for the most part, a lot of it is the routine services, financial, information for routine services, cleaning services, storage, and those things that are needed to run the community board office. Community board. We've also received the executive budget register from the mayor. We received that a few weeks, April 30th, I think, when we got that. That is the capital expenses as well as capital and expenses that we received. So we received that, and there's some cuts, you've heard that on the news, there's some cuts in various areas. And there are some things that we have been asked to reach out to city council, for our council members about. And so the board, various committees are looking at that, and we're responding to the agency that and city council. That's how. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any questions for the treasurer? Okay, thank you. Next would be our district manager's report.
Good evening, everyone. Just to piggyback off of what the treasurer stated regarding budget cuts. Our libraries, NYPL has received a lot of drastic budget cuts on their budget, and they're asking the community board to disseminate a link where there's a letter that you can sign protesting the cuts to libraries. One being they've been reduced from 6 to 5 days a week. And as we know, a lot of our students depend upon the library, a lot of elderly and just families, they depend on those library services. So I will be sending out that link. And Captain Rose, yes, that will be another email that you'll be receiving from me.
It wasn't a complaint. It just said.
I know. So I just want to start off by welcoming all the new board members. Some of you I know, some of you I will get to know. And I want to introduce my staff, Madison Ayala, Michael Ellenstein. Isn't feeling well this evening, but you will be in contact with him and will be receiving email from him as well. So we welcome you all. We look forward to working with you. And we are sort of your one-stop shopping for the community board as far as your committee assignments. If you're not going to be able to attend the meeting, you are to contact the district office as well as the chair of the board and your committee co-chairs. But we'll go all through all the formalities as you become more acquainted to the board. You will be getting an email from me that will include the bylaws, committee descriptions, the calendar. I advise you or encourage you to attend as many meetings as you can. You can attend, they can attend virtually because they're not assigned, correct, Barry? So whatever your schedule allows, I encourage you to attend meetings. So you can kind of gauge what each committee is doing and become more familiar. And when you do fill out the form on the committees that you'd like to be assigned, you'll be more informed. And okay, so with that being said, in addition to my report, I'd like to announce that it's My Park Day will be held on Saturday, May 18th. And the Montefiore Park Neighborhood Association is calling on volunteers to create reading gardens with native plants at Montefiore Park. The event will take place from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. DOT will be moving forward with installing 2 new speed bumps on Combin Avenue between 135th and 140th Street. A 15-mile-per-hour school slow zone will also be established adjacent to City College on Combin Avenue. Installation should be taking place sometime during the summer, ideally after the current semester ends. Also, NYC Department of Small Business Services announced applications for the Avenue NYC Commercial Revitalization Grants are due on May 20th. This program includes grants up to $100,000 per year for up to 3 years for a maximum possible award of $300,000. Dedicated funding for a full-time program manager, assistance with grantees to complete a commercial district needs assessment, that's the CDNA, and in-depth group training and capacity building support. Application will be accessed via Survey Monkey. We'll have the link in the chat, and I also have the information with me, so you can see me during the meeting, the individuals that are here in person. The deadline for submission is 11:59 p.m. on Monday, May 20th. Also, NYC Jobs, or Jobs NYC, is hosting a hiring hall on Tuesday, May 30th, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Polo Grounds Community Center, located at 3005 Frederick Douglass Boulevard. Flyers are located on the information table to my left. The hiring halls include opportunities to work for the NYC, New York City, Department of New York City, access to employment opportunities with private employers across the city, access to workforce development trainings and programs, connections to resources, including public benefits. Jobs NYC has been averaging about 300 attendees and 20 employers and resource providers each month since they launched in March. I have a reminder, deadline for voter registration for the primary election on Saturday, June 15th. The deadline to vote for primary election is June 15th. For further information can be obtained at Vote NYC. So if you know anyone that's not registered, if you're not registered, please go online to Vote NYC to be registered. And the deadline for the primary election is June the 15th. Is that correct, Barry?
To register for the primary.
Yeah. Also, I've been sharing information. Heat pooling assistance benefit for eligible New Yorkers is available. Applications are now open. If your household has at least one person with a documented medical condition that is exacerbated by extreme heat, This must be verified in writing by your physician, physician assistant, or nurse practitioner. Someone age 60 or older is eligible, and children under 6 years of age is eligible. Someone in your household has to be a US citizen or has satisfactory immigration status. Individuals that do not have a working air conditioner or have at least one 5-year-old or their air conditioning unit as at least 5 years old is eligible. Individuals do not get a heat-funded air conditioner, and they did not get a heat-funded air conditioner within the last 5 years. I know that's kind of confusing, so I do have a number that you can call for further information for heat, and that's 718-557-1399 if you have any questions regarding the benefit. But air conditioners and fans are available. 718-557-1399. And they'll have all the eligibility requirements when you call. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, Pat Butler Johnson, is the West Hall Development Corp.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
At the last WHTC board meeting, it took place on April 24th. And on the agenda, there was also a vote of a new WHTC board member. In April 2024, Congressman Adriano Espaillat appointed Mr. Larry English, attorney, as his representative to the WHTC Board of Directors. Mr. English was voted in as a member of the WHTC Board of Directors during the April 24th meeting, meaning that whenever someone is appointed to the board has to actually vote on for the appointment. So for the formality, I just want to let you all know that. Mr. English's resume states that he is a former chairperson of MCB9, and he is an attorney with decades of legal experience working with public and private projects. The 2024 community benefit grants. The funding cycle is scheduled to be announced sometime this month, but I would like to make a personal commitment. If it's done before the end of the month, I will send it on the website. I will send an email to the CB9 so that you'll know. And then you can distribute what I still included in my report for June. But I just wanted to let you all know as soon as I know that I will tell you, and you have my word. Okay. Okay. The in-kind applications, that was a successful collaboration between Columbia University, CB9, and WHTC. So I'm glad that all happened. There was some applications have already been submitted and processed. So I'm glad that the word has gotten out and that people are utilizing that service. So I'm happy about that. Okay. The Multicultural Festival is going to be held on June 1st and June 22nd. The June 1st event will be held at Jackie Robinson Park, and the June 22nd event will be held on St. Nicholas Avenue between 141st and 145th Street. And given honor to our Queen Joyce Adewumi, who is the charge of that. Do you have anything you want to contribute to that? You want me to speak now? Is it all right?
Sure.
Okay. Oh, wow. You can say it better than I can.
No, you did
This
a great
is your
job.
baby. Let me quite brief. Have you ever been a victim of racism? Yes.
Yeah.
Discrimination? Yeah.
Yes.
That's what it's about. We're using our arts to break down the negative stereotypes that can cause hate crimes. I know I've been, and they say that if you don't do something, if you don't do something, then you might become a real victim. So another thing that we're doing while we're doing the New York City Multicultural Festival is because the NYPD 2009, they came to the community and they were asking community leaders to help them with programs that would help to reduce hate crime and also foster a better relationship between the police and the community. Yeah, I know I'm in the arts. And if you're in the arts, you know the power of the arts to bring people together. So I went to them, why don't we do a festival where everyone can come together? We know we have individual parade, Hispanic parade, Japanese parade, this one parade. How about we bring everybody together so that everybody can feel that they are New Yorkers and they matter?
Yes.
And the chief there said, yes, let's do that. Then also, let's have the police there, not just enforcing, but also participating. Let people see the human side of them so that they can have the opportunity to speak to them and talk in dialogue. Because sometimes it's all about dialogue. If you don't talk to one another, you won't know how somebody's feeling and that you actually have the same issues. So they say yes. So I'm very happy that Captain Rose is on board and helping with this. Did you see the flyer here? Flyer here. It's in Spanish and English. This is for Jackie Robinson Park, June 1st. And this is for St. Nicholas Avenue. I always say West Harlem will host the world. So St. Nicholas Park St. Nicholas Avenue from 141st to 145th, we're hosting the world. And this is a multicultural community, so I can't think of a better place to do it. So thank you for the opportunity.
The 30th precinct, the 30th precinct council, and of course CB9 and WHC, everybody put together with this. So thank you for everyone, and thank you for your support. Are there any questions?
I just wasn't clear. You said Squad appointed Larry English and the members of the board, which would be you guys appointed.
Yes, whenever there's an appointment to a board, like for example, I was appointed, and I'm representing CB9 as well as Reverend Morgan Thomas. We both represent CB9 on that board. When the organization, in this case, there's different, it's the congressman's office, the assembly person, the city council, and also CB9. When we are represented, the board still has to vote.
Okay, and that was a unanimous vote.
I didn't get the numbers, but I know that it was voted in.
I have a question. You guys sent out public nomination for the board where anyone could apply. Did anyone apply and did anyone get appointed, or was that just a phantom?
Well, what this was, Congressman Esposito there was a vacancy, and he had to fill that vacancy, so he chose to fill that vacancy with Mr. English, and that's how that came.
Right, I appreciate that, but I'm saying that there was a post that went out to the general public. You guys put on Instagram and Facebook. That encouraged people to apply.
Okay,
Anybody from the public to apply. I'm asking you,
yes,
was that particular slot on the board
no,
filled?
there was 6 that filled, and they were filled. I gave that information maybe in my January or February report. There were two persons appointed, Attorney Angela Fernandez and Attorney David Munkus.
And that was from the public folks.
That was from the public first, yes.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is Reverend Morgan Thomas on the line? Okay, we will jump to Manhattan Borough President's.
Good evening, CB9.
Good evening.
My name is Sean Brandon. Nice to meet you. Second time here.
Sean,
Yeah, we need, that's our mic.
for the people at home.
For the people that couldn't be here. Again, my name is Sean Brandon. I'm the community liaison for CB9 and CB10. I represent the Manhattan Borough President's Office. I have a couple of items just to go through real quick. First and foremost, we want to thank those who got appointed to the board. We want to thank those who got appointed to the board. We had 300 available slots. We had 800 plus people apply. And that's just in the borough of Manhattan. That's how intense it was. I wasn't really involved in this process, but they'll give me the next time around. So thank you. We look forward to your service. Next up, the rent guidelines board started establishing the level of increase or freeze for rent stabilized tenants. They were not going to do a meeting here in Manhattan, but thanks to our office, they are gonna do one. It's gonna be held on June 11th. That's gonna be at the New York Society for Ethical Culture. The address is 2 West 64th Street. And it's gonna start at 5 p.m. Again, that's gonna be on June 11th for the Rent Guidelines Board. They were originally not going to do a meeting in Manhattan. This is the only one. So if you want to come and voice your approval or disapproval, that's the date to do it. Next up, budget updates. Again, we want to thank all the state elected officials, their staffs for getting this done. One of the biggest things, we want to thank them for putting more teeth into the sheriff's department, allowing the NYPD to be deputized to go in and do the padlock shutdown. And thus far, 75 illegal shops have been shut down with more to come. So we appreciate that fact. Next up, the hate crime laws have been expanded to include a number of new offenses, even though there's a couple that are not included. So if you put a SWAT sticker on a synagogue, that's not considered a hate crime, which is shocking to me. So that's one of the things that the office is pressing forward with to have them put in the new bill. And last but not least, we recently wrote to the MTA to introduce signage to illustrate the locations of accessible restrooms, because we only have 58 in Manhattan. Exactly. For a city this size, we are lagging far behind smaller cities in terms of restroom accessibility, and also knowing where those restrooms are. So again, the office is pushing to have those things highlighted on public transportation. So if you're with the baby, you know where to go if you need to use the restroom. Last but not least, we're looking for volunteers as well, so please feel free to go to the Manhattan bp.nyc.gov, because we have a number of events coming up this summer. And if you have any events coming up, tenant days or what have you, please let me know. I have my cards. I'm here. I'm accessible. If you can't reach me, Yuta can. If she can't reach me, Victor can. And I will do what I can to answer any questions within my pay grade.
Thank you. I have a question. Are there any public bathrooms uptown, maybe Officer, maybe Captain Rose knows,
What do you mean
in the
uptown?
subway?
In the subway, that I don't know, and
I have never seen.
the only ones I know of in the park.
Yeah.
Yeah, subway, I don't know.
You already jumped above my pay grade.
Yeah.
Sorry?
Jumped above my pay grade. Actually, no, I don't think there is.
I don't believe so, but I mean, we can get a definitive answer.
Is there a map showing?
That's what we're trying to press for the office, so we can indicate where those are. Because there's a number in like Midtown, but you have no idea where they are.
So according to the MTA's website, Monica, 125th Street on the Lexington Avenue line and on the St. Nicholas ABCD station have bathrooms. And I'm not saying that it's true. I'm saying this is what they have on their website.
Okay.
And Inwood 207th Street, way uptown on the A line.
I could reach out to the Transit Street,
Can you see?
district, they
Yeah,
probably know a
I
real
have never-
answer. Even if it's on there, they probably know which one's there.
I've never
Yeah.
seen a sign.
Yeah, I'll let,
I've never seen it before.
I'll let-
Remember them that.
Why do you know about the?
Question?
Correct. Basically, we'd have to go to their website. That I do not have. I'll get it for you. So by the time this meeting ends, you'll have that information. But just know it's going to be held at the New York Society for Ethical Culture, which again is 2 West 64th Street. And it's going to start at 5 p.m. And that's the only one that's taking place in person in Manhattan.
And you said for the volunteer that you said, in that website, that should be the Manhattan BP.
ManhattanBP.nyc.gov. And again, if there are any festivals or any, family days that are going on, please reach out to the office. So that way we can kind of get that into our system. So I can come, especially if it's MCB9 and hang out. Any other questions? Gotcha. I'll be here to the end. I'm gonna hang out to the very last gap. I'm not gonna give you an answer that I do not have, but I will take that back. And hopefully by the next meeting, I will have an answer.
Thank you, appreciate it, appreciate it. Do we have the mayor's office in the house, Tiffany?
Good evening. Good evening. How you guys doing today? I am Tiffany Brown, Manhattan Borough Director for the Community Affairs in the Mayor's Office. You can hear me? Yeah. My glasses. Just have a few things I want to report on. The first being, I'm gonna piggyback off what Sean said about our great mayor and the 75 locations of cannabis and illegal shops that were closed down. And our great mayor, Eric Adams, announced the results of week 1, Operation Padlock to protect. Sustained multi-agency enforcement action to shut down illegal smoke and cannabis shops across the 5 boroughs. In the first week of enforcement, the New York City Sheriff, NYPD, and, let me go back. Across the 5 boroughs. In the first week of enforcement, the New York City Sheriff Joint Compliance Task Force made up of the New York Sheriff's Office, NYPD, and the Department of Consumer and Worker Protection sealed 75 locations and insured nearly $6 million in penalties. The Sheriff's Joint Compliance Task Force conducted operations on May 4th, May 7th, May 9th, and May 11th. So as we all know, in this community alone, you keep seeing these illegal shops popping up. So what I would just ask our community to do is just have grace with our officers and our sheriffs, because they are working. The work is being done. It may not look like it, but things are being done behind the scenes. As you can see, in 1 week, we got 75 locations closed in. So that's the first report. And my second report, I want to piggyback off what Sister Joyce said about the hate crime. And our great mayor, Eric Adams, announced the curriculum on hate crimes and their impact for New York City public schools. Mayor Adams announced the release of teaching about hate crimes and their impacts. A series of hate crimes lessons designed to teach students in the NYC public schools about hate crime and violence incidents, as well as their impact on individuals and communities. Like she said, I mean, we've all been targeted with some type of hate crime in one way or another. And I've just asked everyone, you know, I've been in support of and been helping Joyce with this great festival that's coming up. And I just encourage everyone to share and please ask everyone you know to come out and let's celebrate all together. And that concludes my report.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Let me take these off so I can see.
And thank you, Tiffany, for supporting this festival. You've been a great supporter. We are joined together in reducing hate crimes in the city. I remember you also spoke to me about breaking bread,
Building bonds initiative.
Right.
That the mayor started when he was the Brooklyn Borough President. And when he came to this administration, his first, the first initiative he wanted from us was he wanted to do 1,000 dinners within the term, but we superseded that. And I can't remember, I think we went up to like 3,000. But the program is still going. And so what the program is he wants your neighbors. You know, we live in these communities, some of us have been here 30, 40 years, and you really don't know your neighbors. So breaking bread, building bonds is an initiative where you can, he added that you get 10 people that you don't know,
to come sit down. It could be in a restaurant, it could be in your homes, and he wants you to just have dinner and have a conversation and learn about about their culture and tell them about yours. And so that initiative is still taking place. We did get some more funding. We had to pause it for a minute because we ran out of funding because we did so many of them. But it is still taking place, so if anyone is interested in being a part of that program, please feel free to reach out to me. I'll give my contact information to you. I'll be here. I'll try to stay to the end. But if I need to leave, just stop me and I'll give you my card and reach out to me and I'll get that information too.
So Tiffany, what I wanted to tell you was that myself and the captain, we've started something similar. Yes,
Oh,
yeah.
you have to bring me in and tell me about it.
Absolutely. Okay.
Okay, so can I come to one of yours?
Yes. We're starting this Friday. We're starting tomorrow.
Tomorrow? Okay, we'll talk.
Yeah, we'll talk.
Okay. Any other questions? Thank you. I see you.
So, mentioned in your post, I moved by.
Yes,
Yeah, no problem. I understand.
across the 5 boroughs. I don't know if that's where the locations were, but you will slowly start to see all of the end result is all of them to be close. So you will start seeing action taking place, okay?
Thank you, Tiffany. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Next up, we have the Department of Sanitation with their update. Good to see you.
Good evening, everyone. It's great to be back in West Harlem. This is the team from the Department of Sanitation. Deputy Commissioner Josh Goodman, Assistant Commissioner Jonathan Bikers, Deputy Commissioner Neil Eisenberg, and Deputy Commissioner Ryan Marola. It's great to see so many of our friends. This is our 3rd meeting in a row and probably 7th or 8th overall on this topic. Many of you have seen this presentation before, but I know there are a lot of new people. So we're just going to go through it very quickly. There are a couple of updates from past meetings, but I don't want to make the folks who've heard it before listen to it all over again. So I'll just start by saying, and then we'll get right into it, that Hamilton Heights and soon all of West Harlem are the key front line of the trash revolution, a tidal wave of change that is sweeping our city about the way that we deal with 44 million pounds of trash per day. New York City has been known, as the mayor likes to say, for its mean streets, but soon it will be known for its clean streets. Can you go to the next slide, please? So over the last 20 years or so, most of the developed world innovated around its trash. New York City fell drastically behind, and there are good reasons for that. We were focused on the closure of the Fresh Hills landfill, opening our marine transfer stations. There was a lot of important back-of-house, back-end work, infrastructure, billion-dollar projects taking place. But it meant that cities around the world were innovating at a time when New York wasn't. When Mayor Adams, Commissioner Tisch came in 2 years ago, said, this has to change. We cannot ask New Yorkers to deal with bags of trash on the street all day, every day. And so we looked at best practices around the world. We looked at the feasibility of containerization in New York City. And again, I'm going through this quickly. Later, I'm happy to speak with anyone about it in more detail. I just don't want to make everybody hear what they've heard before. And we learned that after many years of people saying, you know, this works in Barcelona, this works in Amsterdam, but I bet it wouldn't work in New York. It was easy to say. And then when we got down to brass tacks and looked at the numbers, did the math, it turns out it absolutely is possible to change the way we deal with the trash in New York City. Hamilton Heights hosts a pilot from which we have formed the basis of a citywide go-forward plan. So right now, Hamilton Heights hosts the city's shared container pilots, actually at the 16 schools, as it continues to expand, and 10 residential blocks. The 143rd to 153rd between Broadway and Amsterdam, as well as Hamilton Place. This has been a broadly successful pilot, and we will talk about the success in a moment. But I want to say right here up front that it has also taught us a lot that has allowed for substantial change and redevelopment ahead of the go-forward citywide strategy. So, for example, if you live in the zone or if you walk by, you likely notice that these containers are just openable by anyone. The go-forward model will be a sealed container.
containers will be assigned to specific addresses. You know, we're all about personal accountability and responsibility at the Department of Sanitation. One problem with the shared container is somebody doesn't use it right, who do you write the ticket to? Right? And that's the model in most of Europe. And we actually learned that one of the better ways to do it in New York is to say, this building gets this bin, this building gets this bin. That also solves the problem that we've heard from people in the community of, well, you know, I'm in a 3-unit brownstone, why do I have a container for well, that won't be the case in the go forward. And the containers will only be for the higher density buildings. There will be a different strategy for smaller buildings. Next slide. So I said it's a successful pilot. Have you ever seen a 55% decrease in anything related to quality of life in New York City in such a short period of time? Rat sightings reported to 311 in the specific pilot zone since the pilot began, which was in late September through the end of April, are down 55%. Next slide, please. But again, as I mentioned, we are moving forward with a slightly different, refined model based on the learnings from this pilot. Next slide, please. So just to run through what that will be. We have a plan to get every piece of trash, commercial and residential, off the street once and for all. And because this is a group of residents, I'm going to focus on the residential strategy. Smaller buildings, those with 1 to 9 residential units, everything from a single family home up to a 9 apartment building, will use wheeled bins, as many already choose to. Many people already put their trash in the bins. Those will be required starting this fall. And the really exciting thing about this is there will be a New York City official bin that is by far the cheapest one on the market. Those will become available for sale later this summer. If you already have bins, you can keep using yours for about 2 years or so, and just whenever they need to be replaced, get ours. If you don't have bins for your building, you only have to do it once. Ours will be available. It's the cheapest bin of its quality that you've ever seen. They're going to sell for about $50, the most common size. You go to Home Depot or Lowe's, you're talking about 120 to 140 for the same quality. So that's a pretty incredible thing to do. The largest buildings will have these stationary on-street containers. And one update that I can share from the last time we were here is that the RFP to select the vendor that will design, produce the containers, the responses are due tomorrow. So the review process of that will take several months, but it is moving forward very well. And then the buildings in between, the 10 to 30, they'll have to containerize their trash, but the building will get to choose whether they want the wheeled bin or the on-street container. And that's because in that range, when we did the math, but I know I said it really fast, really quickly. We have a tremendous centuries worth of data about the weight of the trash. For the longest time, that was sort of how we worked. It was about weight. The process of containerization is really the first time we've had to think about the volume. So we did this in-depth 90 volumetric analysis, and we determined that in that 10 to 30 range, you know, it could be 11 studios with 1 person each, or it could be 29 apartments that each have a family in them. So we will work with the buildings to figure out which containerization strategy is right for them. And that's how we get to this point where every container and every bin belongs to us, and we can put personal responsibility back into this. Next slide, please. Sorry. So for those on-street containers, this part I can go through really fast. One of the reasons that the initial viability study said that containerization with on-street containers was going to take up to 5 years is because the truck to lift them doesn't exist in the United States. Neil was able to design and build it in about 1 year. So we're way ahead of schedule on that. And you're going to see that, next slide, please, on the road in Community Board 9 about a year. This is just a breakdown. I'm not happy to share this. We don't have to spend too long on it. Of how many containers we're talking about. It's about 1,200 across the entire community board, full rollout. And the breakdown by size. Next slide, please. We have been able to drastically reduce the amount of parking that will be necessary for this program based on that new data analysis, doing the 1 to 9, 10 to 30, 31 plus. 2 containers is about 1 parking space, and each one of those holds about 48 of the big trash bins that would sit on the street, and now the rats won't have access to. Next slide, please. That's the end of the presentation. So that's an update on where we're at now. And we're going to take as many questions as we need to. I see the hand.
One quick thing. In between our meetings, the chair emailed me. He had noticed that some of the wheeled shared containers you see had moved off of those dumpster guards. Thank you very much for investigating it. We've had two problems. One, some of our sand rivers weren't thinking right. We did a little retreat. Two, some of the hooks were being taken. So Neil has been working on welding things so that there is no chance of sticking. But that's the person we've seen. We appreciate knowing that. And please continue to send me these. We can investigate in real time.
And just before we go into the questions, I just want to frame them one more time with a reminder that we are moving forward with a different approach than what's on the street now. So, always, to Ryan's point, always having to take feedback about those containers. But just if your point is, I hate the containers, great news. The next ones are going to look different. We'll go ahead and to you, Mr. Chairman.
Monica?
Okay. So I live on Convent Avenue. There is one lane going south on Convent. There is no parking on the southbound lane. On the northbound lane, there is parking and then a lane. There is no way for you to put those big containerizations on that block between 143 and 141 because they have big buildings. My building's 42. There's no way that you can put that on both sides of the streets. That would make it a one-way street with traffic just going one way. So what are you going to do to accommodate that? That's first. And second, I appreciate that I have 4 white guys in front of me and the commissioner is a filthy rich white woman that lives downtown. Have you got any input, excuse me, have you got any input from the Black and brown people that reside in this community?
Yes, we've actually, well, let me take your second question first.
Okay.
We've knocked every door in the pilot zone, I believe, 3 times and spoken to the residents.
You've never been to my building.
On Convent, you're not in the pilot zone.
So we're not getting this?
So, no, I'm sorry, I'm talking about the 10 blocks that currently have, okay? We've spoken to every resident of the blocks that are currently covered. And then, as I mentioned, we've come to the community, right? This is where we are here to speak to you.
Okay.
So the question is, have you come and spoken to me? I'm speaking to you right now.
I did speak to you before.
Right, we've spoken several times. So
Yes.
that's the answer to your question. Have we spoken to the
Yes.
community?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm one person. And and we're not in the pilots.
So, and now to go to your second question about Convent Avenue,
Yeah.
or your first question that I'm answering second. We did find in our viability study that this can work on 96% of streets in the city. Now, of course, that means there's 4% left. We are not, as you can see in this model, applying a one-size-fits-all approach. This was very deliberately designed to understand that for decades, while rats have run all over our neighborhoods, people have sat downtown at offices and said, that idea doesn't seem like it would work 100% of the time, so let's not do it. That's what's held us back. So if there are blocks that need bespoke solutions, some of those buildings, maybe it can go on the side street, maybe it could go around the corner and the super will put the waste out there. Some of them, maybe there will be space for the container. We will be doing this block by.
Yes.
It says that the new containers are going to be,
Yes.
and I'm going to, would they be sealed and?
Yes, they are. But remember that because they're only for the largest buildings, all of those buildings are staffed, right? There's a super in every building or someone whose job it is to put the trash out. So that's part of the change. It will not be any individual resident's job to use those large containers. And as I mentioned, the RFP responses are due tomorrow. The specific locking mechanism is part of what we asked for. Could it be an RFID card? Could it be a key? We're going to have to see what the companies that make these come back with. But the idea is that it's the building super who has the ability to open.
Joyce?
Okay, thank you.
Oh, and I'm sorry, Neil just made a point I just wanted to add to our question. Accessibility is one of the things that's in the RFPs. Many of these European ones have multiple ways to put pedal. I apologize.
Yes, so I'm very happy to hear that it will be one building per container, because I've seen a lot of people put things that should be recycled in their garbage bag and throw it in there, white bag, and so I'm very happy about that. Secondly, I just wanted to point out that I'm a motorist, where I park, the lot where I park,
we've had so many those cars were cannibalized by rats. And when, the wires were eaten up so many times and they spent thousands of dollars fixing it only to have the rats eat the wires again. But since this containerization program, we have not been having rats in that place, so it's good.
What I like to hear. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
In the back, all the way in the back.
Which street do you live on? Which block is it? We'll make sure. Yeah, by all means. Right. Well, I can say that what we can do at the sanitation department is this new model will reduce the amount of street space that is needed for the containers. So separate from I know there's a lot of discussion about parking permits, not something we would have anything to do with, but we are working to reduce the amount of space that's taken.
Yes.
He doesn't see.
My question,
No.
my parents will be involved to the 1 and 9, and I have looked this after before. Things that we have,
Yes.
whole thing.
Yes. Oh, you mean where you can store them? Yeah, the rules say that you can store them either, because we know, again, every place is different. We try to build as much flexibility. If you have a rear yard or a downstairs, someplace inside, great. If you don't, it will be legal to keep them right up against the building or even within 3 feet of the building, so you don't block the sun. And you would have to check it, and every time you check it, it says that it's not. But the thing is, this takes from the corner, what people are now doing, Laura is throwing the garbage in the tree bed, one corner as well. What's the intersection again? Statement is that on the west. Thank you.
So very happy to hear that pilots and grad sightings are down 5%. Do you have data for like general trend for Manhattan as a whole or for Uptown as a whole at the same time?
I know that we have two things in addition to the pilot zone. We have a citywide number, and we have a number for the city's 4 rat mitigation. So that will double count this area, although more than just. In the same time period, we found the citywide number went down about 6%, which is the biggest year-over-year decrease since 2010. So remember, like the pilot is one part of what we're doing. We're making changes citywide, particularly focused in the rat mitigation zones, where the rat mitigation zones saw the rat sightings go down 15%. So the changes that we're making are working broadly, especially here in Hamilton.
Okay.
Well, the crime of illegal, the question was about people from buildings on Riverside going to the Hamilton. Illegal dumping is a specific crime that have to do that's about like $4,000 fines. What you're talking about is improper set out, which used to be a $150 fine, and about 5 years ago they put it to $7. Anyway, if you're seeing that persistent problem, any particular stretch, if you want to, we know the address.
Pat Colwell.
If you put trash out for collection on the street, you will have to put it in. If you don't put trash out on the street for collection, then no, take it. And as far as the specific location, we will work with the builder to figure out where the most appropriate place is, whether it's on the That's correct. One of the ways that it'll make things a lot easier for buildings and their building staff is right now the law is very strict about when they can put it on the street because we don't want it on the street. When it's in a sealed container, they will not have to put it in the sealed container at any time. They can put it in the sealed container at any time. And we've heard from a lot of buildings that are in private, I'm sure we'll hear from the stance. Wow, I used to have to use all the space inside my building to store the trash. And now I've got that space. And we can use it for community space, use it for all kinds of things. Oh, one of the supers actually hugged me over. So it'll free up that flexibility for both the building space and the time.
Thank you. That's all the time we have. Thank you very much.
Speaking of home, you raised, of course, issues around here. If you're seeing any of this, please write to us about it because we've been looking at the I want to make sure they're getting this.
Great.
Sorry, really fast, last thing. I just want to say again, I'm Josh. I've been here the last 3 meetings in a row. I'm out of town the day of the next meeting. So I just wanted to say I'm going to miss you all and I will give it a great.
Thank you.
So we're moving into public session, Barry.
All right, first we have Neil Weisbard.
So public session, as you all know, 3 minutes. Stick to that time. Barry will be keeping time on that.
When you hear my
We
phone,
get on the,
you,
oh,
at the desk.
that's how that works.
Did you sign it?
I don't think I did.
All right.
I gotta get from home anyway. Sorry. I don't know how this works.
Hear my phone chime, you are good to go, or you're finished. All right, whenever you're ready.
Hi, good evening. My name is Neil Weisbard, and I represent the owner of 701 West 135th Street, and I'm here in support of the proposed rezoning and special permit application in city planning, which will result in the construction of a 7-story, approximately 53,000 square foot mixed-use building, which will contain 60 dwelling units, which up to at least 18 will be affordable. It is our team's belief, including our environmental consultant and project architect who will be speaking shortly, that the project has a land use justification, is appropriate to be part of the special Manhattanville mixed use district, will not create any adverse impact on the surrounding area, and will be a true benefit to the community by creating 18 affordable units and replacing an existing eyesore with a refined and respectfully designed building. I also want to make it clear that the rezoning will permit commercial uses on the ground floor and second floor, including restaurants and retail, bakeries, jewelry, craft shops, and wholesale establishments, as well as community facility uses. It is our belief that the existing manufacturing district is not appropriate as the site has never been used truly as a manufacturing use. And also, it's important to note that this construction will not occur until Amtrak has performed an extensive review of the structural design elements and deems the project safe and appropriate for the use as a rail line. There were numerous questions that the land use committee that we are prepared to answer, including the extensive environmental review involved in this project, flood mitigation measures, and the minimal impact of sightlines from Riverside Drive. I'm hoping that you've had a chance to review the proposal as part of your packet so that you can see the various renderings and plans and statements so you're better informed about the project. And we believe that if you objectively review this project, you will see that there is a true land use justification for the project and that your favorable recommendation will help satisfy the city's goal of creating more affordable housing. Thank you.
Well, I mean. Oh, next, sorry, Jason Diaz.
Hi, my name is Jason Diaz. With BHP, I'm the environmental consultant for the 71 135th Street project. Can everyone hear me, by the way?
Yes.
Great. Okay. I want to thank the community for having us here to present and say their case. So, as the environmental consultants, we perform the environmental review. The proposed actions include a series of discretionary actions that require environmental review pursuant to seeker. Those of you who are not familiar, seeker stands for the city's environmental quality review procedure. And through that procedure, we first did a screening, which determined that a series of technical areas that are detailed in the seeker technical manual would screen out, including socioeconomic conditions, impacts related to facilities and services, historic and cultural resources, natural resources, water and sewer infrastructure, solid waste and sanitation services, energy, transportation, greenhouse gas, climate change, public health, and neighborhood character. These all screened out in the initial screening process that is laid out by seeker. However, there were a number of technical areas that required further analysis, which were provided in the environmental assessment statement, EAS, that was posted on the city's website. You could access it through city seeker access or Department of City Planning's zoning applicant portal. And in that EAS, we took a deeper dive into looking at the potential impacts of land use, zoning and public policy, open space, shadows, urban design and visual resources, hazardous materials, air quality, noise, and construction. All of which, based on those detailed analyses, found that there would be no potential significant adverse impacts. I'm happy to go into to answer questions based on we'll get to questions afterward. But I know there were some concerns voiced by the land use committee, and I'll just cover those really quickly. I know there was some concerns about hazardous materials in the site, and so our team performed what's called a phase 1 environmental site assessment, which basically takes historical records and field observations to determine if there is potential for hazardous materials on the site. We did discover that there could be a potential, and as a result, an E designation was placed on the site that would require more vigorous site investigations on the site in order for the building, the proposed project to receive its certificate of occupancy. Absent the proposed actions, that E designation would not be in place, and those protections would not be in place, and the site would remain with hazardous materials. For noise, there was also concern about noise due to its proximity to the neighboring rail. I should point out that while the rail does produce pretty noisy conditions, the trains run only 24 times a day, 23 of which happen during daytime hours, meaning between 7 a.m. and 10 p.m., one of which occurs during nighttime hours between 7 a.m. Based on the noise analysis that we performed, we would also, need designation was also placed on the site that would require certain attenuation requirements that would ensure that the interior noise levels of that proposed project would have acceptable levels based on seeker guidance. I know there's also concern about wind impacts. due to its location near the waterfront. This site is not technically a waterfront site, and based on the topography directly east of the site, it really doesn't serve as a candidate for having potential impacts due to wind. So a detailed analysis was not required for seeker to recommend guidance. And
So we're a little over time, so I wonder if anyone has questions, now is the time to ask. See Mr. Davis, Monica, Tiago, Alana, and then Liz, and then so those will be your questions. This is way over time for public session, but it's
Sorry.
So this is the.
yeah.
Correct, that's the proposal. There would be a cantilever. No, so this is a common, it's not uncommon to see residential or any.
The impact.
A vibration study is not going to see. That's just what this means. It may not be detailed. But it's not.
Okay, Monica.
Yes, so are you familiar with the train crash?
I'm not.
So down there, they had to bring in each train to move trains and tracks. This was in Philadelphia. So if a train were to crash, let's say it crashed halfway over the rail, almost to the building. How are they going to be able to bring a train in? How are they going to be able? I mean, it's a huge train, and they use the train to pick the trains up and move them off the track. How is that going to happen with that over?
That's a good question. That it's not really within the scope of seeker.
I think I can maybe answer.
Yeah.
So, as I mentioned, this is gonna have to go under review by Amtrak, who's going to have to approve this. And those are concerns, but Amtrak deems the project appropriate. These are things that they will consider. They won't approve it until they feel that any emergency can be handled. I'm not sure how that would be handled, but this project will not move forward until Amtrak has reviewed all the elements of that.
So do you know if Amtrak has reviewed what you sent them?
So we've only had preliminary discussions with Amtrak when we first started this project. And in order to gain approval from Amtrak, you have to submit scented plans, detailed plans, and our plan is to move forward with the city planning application first. If the project is approved, it cannot be built until the next step of Amtrak.
Next question.
Steve Budgold is the project architect. He actually dealt with Amtrak as well.
I'm the architect. Just briefly, I'm on this. So I spent 5 years at college. I've done a lot of work. I designed restaurants that were there over many years. I'm very familiar with vetting. I sat in there. Some of the Yankees. and Patterson.
Right, I'm not talking about that building.
It's the same building. Same building. And they're
No, the
keeping-
existing building.
they're
So
keeping that
we're
building.
short on time. We've given
Oh.
some great speakers
So,
here.
so to Neil's point, okay, is that to follow procedures, and I was on community board, and had to, we want to move the process the proper way. We're gonna, if Amtrak says we can't get a train in there in case of, and by the way, the building's gonna be 100 years old, in 2 years. They can't do it, jobs won't. Simple.
So here is actually a very interesting concern that I think we have as a board from a land use perspective based on concerns about the siting and the proposed development. If the city rezones this lot and you fail to get permission from Amtrak, because that is the proposed sequence of events, we vote and then the rezoning occurs and then you get permission from Amtrak. If Amtrak fails to get permission, what would stop you from changing the development to one that you could build as of right within the new zone?
There is
They
no
might-
development,
let me-
no, there's no development as of right.
Let me-
Because That's for rail lines.
I answer, please.
No, I can answer this.
No, I know you can.
But it would require a special permit. You would need to come back to your community.
The answer is it would require a special permit even if they did not acquire the right of way above the rail lines, because the development adjacent to the rail line requires a special permit.
And we've been working at this for several years. So nothing would happen if Amtrak decides to use it as a sole owner. Nothing would happen with the site. It would remain as is, because there's no other development possibilities there, even if we do get the zoning, but as Neil said, we'd have to go through the whole process. So the intention in here is simply to get 18 affordable units. That there's an opportunity to do it here and improve the lot.
So, no, because Ilana's next and then we have to move on because we got a couple folks in public.
I'm on the housing committee, and so I saw your presentation, so some of the things that we discussed that I want to clarify, so I know some people compared it to like the buildings that are next to, like the elevated train. I want to make it clear this building is not next to, this building would be part of the actual structural, the track. It's not like next to.
As it is today.
That's,
Correct, but it's not a
that's actually
residential, can I
not-
finish?
But it's
but
not
not
a-
correct.
It's not a, not interrupt.
I'm sorry.
It's not a residential building, okay? Our concerns that, yes, we want affordable housing, obviously. We don't want to, at what cost? At what cost? We don't want to jeopardize people's safety.
Agreed.
So let me finish,
Sorry.
okay? Yeah. So, at the meeting, you said that CSX does not run on those lines. I looked it up.
CSX?
CSX carries a lot of stuff. Okay, we already know that you're a freight line. You
Well,
can go
actually,
on
I
there,
think it's-
do not interrupt me. You can go.
Lana, you're gonna have to move.
No,
Have
come
to
on,
move.
in.
Go ahead.
You
Ask
can
the
go, you
question.
can go on the website, you can see that it does, that they do one at night.
Okay.
You can look at- So you guys are completely unprepared, and this is,
Okay.
we want affordable housing, but not at this, not at the cost.
Okay.
I disagree with that, but we.
You're gonna move on. Joyce Sutherland.
Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. You're Steve, right?
Yeah.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Leo, and thank you.
Hey, do I get my?
They have been amalgamated into those presentations. Okay, Joyce.
I have spoken about the new festival, so I yield my time to.
Thank you. God bless you. Marlena Smith Satillo. Oh. You have her live? She a panel? All right, Ms. Smith Satillo.
How are you?
Morning, or whatever.
Can you hear me? Hello? Are you hearing me?
We can hear you.
Please speak, man.
Go ahead, just put in chat and speak. All right, we're gonna come back while we resolve Ms. Smith Satillo's technical issues. Dan Levatino. evening.
Hi, everybody.
Floor
Good
is yours.
evening. They have interesting stories to tell. And then after the rose tour, you're going to do a rose cutting workshop where you can take cuttings of our roses, home with you and grow them. Lots of home, etc. So it's going to be a really nice day. And learn more about it.
Ready to go?
June 13th.
June 13th from 1 to 6 p.m. All right. Thank you. Oh, yes. Okay. Do we have Ms. Smith-Cecile unmuted? And Ms. Smith-Cecile, once you're unmuted, just speak.
It's very difficult hearing you.
There you go. Go ahead.
Please speak.
Good afternoon. My name is Merlene Smith-Sotillo. I am the president of the Sickle Cell Awareness Foundation, and I was invited here to speak by my good friend. Oh Lord, I don't want to mess up her name, so I will just say my good friend, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Now, we've been working on the sickle cell bill for quite a while. So let me just back up a little bit. I was blessed to have 2 children with sickle cell disease. And 18 years ago, my son and I decided to start a sickle cell organization to bring awareness because my daughter was always in and out of hospital. And I think it was important to have proper care, which we were not blessed with at that time. So we decided to start the organization. And within that time to now, we introduced the sickle cell bill. And 2 years ago, we were blessed to have one part of the sickle cell bill signed into law, where the Department of Health will write the language for sickle cell in all hospitals. Last year, December 13, Governor Hochul signed the other part of the bill, which is the education and detection section of the bill. So in November last year, all the council people got together to amend the sickle cell bill to have it available for all patients in New York. So I'll just read a little bit of what the bill that we worked on with Senator Saunders and Assemblywoman Alicia Hyman. Governor Hochul signed Senator James Saunders' sickle cell detection and education bill into law. Queens, New York, December 13th, signed into law. The Health Council within the Health Office of the Health Equity in New York State Department of Health to consider New York Commissioner on sickle cell disease. This includes the promotion of screening and detection of sickle cell disease, especially among undeserved population, educating the public on sickle cell and providing counseling services. The the council is also tasked with considering the feasibility of establishing statewide public education and outreach campaigns, the provisions of grants to approve organization and healthcare professional educational programs. This new law also provides additional requirements for sickle cell healthcare and wellness education and outreach programs by requiring New York State Department of Health consult with patients with sickle cell disease in the production of information.
So,
Senator
Ms.
Saunders says,
There is
We've
no
reached
cure for
agreement.
sickle cell disease. Early detection and education are essential in providing and improving the lives of those affected by this devastation condition. The bill will help to ensure that all Americans, regardless of race or ethnicity, have access to information and resources. Thank you so kindly for allowing me to speak this evening. Do appreciate your time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, David Shargani. Oh, well,
Remember you guys.
yeah, we remember you.
Thank you, thank you. This, you guys, everyone else is gonna be able to see, but you guys can. How you doing? I'm blessed with a big voice. I was born in New York, love New York, greatest city in the world. And last time I came here, there were not this many people here, and I'm so happy to see all these passionate, people here for this. I'm a community guy. I love New York. I don't care what she's been through. We're gonna work through it, right? I just opened up an establishment. It's called The Getaway on 151st Street, Riverside Drive, that cast there. So I've been rehabilitating for the last 3 years. I got a 20-year lease starting this month with the Parks Department. So I'm already $250,000 into it. I'm pumping out all kinds of advertising and everything. The music there is free for everybody. Forever. If you guys need a space, I don't charge. You come. You're part of the community. I'll give you space for photography, art, whatever. Is that why I'm here today? No. I'm here because I need your help. Here's what's going on. I'll try to do it quick too. Promise you that. All right. I'm dealing with 2 issues that I never thought I'd have to deal with. One of them is the MTA. I have top of my restaurant, which is going to be for all of you and the musicians, is a sidewalk. So you think it's safe, right? It's cool. So what happened is, I'm wondering why am I getting leaking onto my stage area and on the rest? There's cracks coming in. I don't know where they're coming from. So just like, you have to be in the right place at the right time. A New York City bus, 36,000-pound bus, does a U-turn every day in that spot. So I gave them the video. I'm gonna pass this out, and there's only one copy of everything, so do your best, please. This is the bus. It's the 11, yeah, that's the bus. Okay, and this is what it did to the top of my restaurant, which is a sidewalk for you guys. And this is what's there now. So that's asphalt. 36,000 pounds on that, eventually wears it down and water seeps in and finds a way. So it's in my roof now and my roof leaks and I'm trying to do this for the community. It's an unforeseen cost that I can't put, you know what I mean? So that's one, I'm gonna make it quick. The second thing is, the castle that's there, that's a big castle, okay. That castle has never been occupied, so I'm in there. And I have to do the electrical, which is fine. I'm gonna do that. It's like 80,000, 90,000, fine. I have 2 electricians beat the DOT. And the DOT, this is going on for a year now. That's why I'm here. The DOT is aware that the equipment in there belongs to them and the room that they constructed, even though it's no longer functional, belongs to them. Here's the problem. I'm willing to do the electricity. The electricians won't touch it. And you know why? Because everything is laced with asbestos. Okay, so the DOT is telling me, well, here's our plans. Do what you want. They don't want to do nothing. It's their property, inside Parks property that I'm trying to develop in the community. All they got to do is their job. Remove the asbestos, remove and let me do my thing. And I can make everything wonderful for everybody. This is a letter from the electrician, the master electrician, and he says no electrician will touch that job until DOT removes the asbestos. So right now I'm on the clock, paying rent, not making money, not open, and I need your help.
So well, it might be DOT. So Solomon and Carolyn are the co-chairs of Uniform Services and Transportation. They are the ones who talk to DOT with the board. We can follow up there. And Annette and Heather are the parks. Maybe parks can, I don't know, not charge you rent while you are getting the DOT to take down their asbestos. But thank you for.
Thank you. Any questions? There we go.
All right, Alexis Martinez. Alexis. Okay. Oh, come on down and do me a favor, stand like here, because that's the microphone for the Zoom. Carolyn, let the man through.
Afternoon, my name is Alexis Martinez, and I want to talk about the parking situation on my block.
You're from the same neighborhood, the same block,
Okay.
5121.
Okay, go ahead.
So I lived in my home for about like 20 years. I live in 512 West 153rd Street, and the parking situation as years gone by, it's gone worse. You know, I come from work like 4, I have to stay until like 8 just to get one parking space. So I'm here talking to the community board to see how we get a permit for parking.
Well, I think you guys from coming the last couple of times. How you doing? Thank you for doing the time. I've been in my apartment for 30, you've been 20, I've been here for 30 years. Single mom with 2 children, work 3 jobs one time, being from Jamaica, works 3 jobs. And 10 jobs. And I never had a problem before because half a block of a cemetery. Now we have more apartment buildings coming up. Thank you, because it's great for the neighborhood, if you have apartments to live in. But some people come in 2, 3 cars. Like, whoa, rent is so expensive. You got 2 cars? That's what I'm talking about. But at the end of the day, the that has 1 car and trying to make a living and come and nodding at the wheel, I suffer from chronic pain. I've been going on, I got my petition going. I am aware that you guys already voted in for the permit and it's pending. How can we speed this up? Expedite this, especially with the price congestion coming in next month. And you're gonna come up. Yeah, yeah.
So
I think it's the 153rd Street
is that a question?
in the block, yeah.
So our assembly member, one of our assembly members for on the other side of that street, Danny O'Donnell, has a bill in the state legislature to authorize residential parking in New York City. I would suggest that I know Solomon, we're at a meeting about this week. So we can talk, and we can also talk with the assembly member's office and attempt to continue to move the ball forward on this issue. But you are correct, and that the community board has gone on record with an official resolution calling for residential permit parking.
Right. So the focus is just pulling the electoral office. If I give it up, I'm giving them up like about 50 already. I keep giving it out. We are calling and calling. So with the price projection next month, and I'm speeding up, it's gonna get worse.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, worse.
Yep.
So what can I say? How can I word it? With the public?
So, I mean, so Danny has introduced the bill, but it must be passed by both houses of the
Right.
legislature. I think the appropriate question is to his legislative staff, where is the bill, who's supporting it, who needs to get on board with it, et cetera.
Okay, all right, cool. So we call the office, that's what I should say.
You need to call everybody, though, the mayor, Mark Levine, Donna Brady, and you said, no, I think you said, but I mean, we got to call everybody.
Right.
Oh,
And Jemima.
right. Okay, all, and get your neighbors to call. Thank you, thank you.
Madison, you have
Thank
all
you,
the
guys.
numbers for the elected official offices.
I appreciate that. Guys,
All right, and board, Natalie Fulga,
Thank you.
ma'am, what was your name?
That.
Okay, great, that concludes our public session.
Okay.
We have.
Okay, we're going on to our elected officials. First up is Council Member Sean Abreu's office. Gabriella?
Unmute yourself, Gabrielle.
Yes, sorry. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. I'm actually really struggling to hear you guys. I try to put it on the chat, but as long as you hear me, that's okay. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening. I have very brief notes today. I'd like to bring to your attention, again, that HPD will be in our district June 3rd and June 17th. On those Mondays, HPD will be stationing their mobile van outside of the Ascension Church on 107th Street. This is a great opportunity for our community to get housing resources, housing resources, services, and one-on-one assistance. We welcome you to come by. We actually had our first one this past Monday, and I thought it was very helpful, even for myself. Also, this Saturday, May 18th, our office will be hosting another pet adoption event with Animal Care Center of New York City. They are bringing their van with cats and dogs to our district office from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. So if you're interested in adopting a furry pet, just come on down. I shared the flyer with Victor, but if anybody wants me to share it with them, you can drop your email if you're on Zoom in the chat. Otherwise, Victor does have a copy of it. Two quick legislative items. As the city budget fight heats up, Councilmember Abreu is raising his call to restore funding to community composting organizations, which are critical for diverting organic waste from landfills and increasing recycling rates in our city. Join him and the Coalition to Save Community Composting for a rally on the steps of City Hall on Monday, May 20th at 9 a.m. And then one other thing, almost all workers know exactly how their pay is calculated, but not if you're a deliverista. Deliveristas are paid using a complicated formula that pools money among multiple delivery people. Today, Councilmember Abreu introduced legislation that would ensure that deliveristas are told how they're being paid and how many hours they're being paid to work, preventing confusion and potential dispute over compensation. That's all for today. Thank you and have a good evening. If anybody has any questions, I am happy to answer what I can. Otherwise, I'm happy to get back to anyone.
There was a question about the dates of the HPD.
Yes, we have June 3rd, which is the Monday, and June 17th. And then we'll have somebody at the district office on West 141st Street in Amsterdam. And then we'll have somebody at the Ascension Church at the mobile van.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Next up from the District Attorney's Office, we have Fernanda.
Good evening, everybody. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Great. Thank you. My name is Fernanda Lujan. I'm the Community Engagement Coordinator for the Manhattan District Attorney's Office. So I have one press release, and that will be that DA Bragg and DOI Commissioner announced the indictment of Daniel Shalom for harassing rent-regulated tenants. The DA's Tenant Protection Unit brought the New York's first ever harassment of rent-regulated tenants prosecution under the new law. This happened after harassing the rent-regulated tenants with horrific living conditions in order to induce them to vacate their apartments and also enable him to sell the buildings for a significant profit. Shalom filed for false documents with city agencies to conceal his ownership of those buildings and evade responsibility for harassing his tenants. The DA's office wants to remind everybody that landlords have the responsibility to ensure tenant safety. We urge anybody who believes they may be a victim of this sort of fraud to contact our Housing and Tenant Protection Unit at 212-335 and 3300. Also, we want to let you know that June is National Gun Violence Awareness Month, and we will keep you on the loop with any events happening in June. If anybody has any questions or concerns, I'll leave my contact information in the chat. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next up, the Public Advocate's Office, Solomon.
Hey, good evening, everyone. Solomon Acevedo here. He, him pronouns. I'm the Deputy Public Advocate for Housing and Health Equity. Just wanted to share a few announcements about some upcoming initiatives taking place and some events as well. We have been obviously championing the worst landlord watch list for several years now. And this year we will be partnering with an organization called Who's Your Landlord? And I'll put this website in the chat. It's wyl.co. And it's an organization that allows tenants to provide anonymous surveys for the buildings in which they are living. And we are working to target the buildings that are on our 100 worst landlord list so that we're able to get a full view of what tenants are experiencing. The data that will be collected from this survey would be incorporated into a report that will be released alongside this year's list in order to provide a full balance of what people are experiencing. Right now, the worst landlord watch list is limited to calculating the swiftness of repairs once complaints are made. And we are looking to figure out how to provide a wider opportunity for tenants to share their experiences and to connect with community-based organizations who can assist them when they're dealing with difficult things. This will be announced at an event that's happening next week that I'm excited to share about. It's the 2024 State of the People address that will be given by the New York City Public Advocate. I will be putting the information in the chat. It'll be taking place next week, Wednesday, May 22nd, from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. at the Jamaica Performing Arts Center. This will be an opportunity for folks to hear from the public advocate around our responses to the state budget, the upcoming city budget negotiations, figuring out the top priorities for New York City in all categories and all experiences. So continue to check out that information. For anyone who needs assistance from our office, feel free to reach out at the gethelp@advocate.nyc.gov or calling 212-669-7250 and leaving a message. And you can also sign up for our monthly newsletter, which I'll put into the chat as well. That will keep you updated on all the ongoings with our office and the public advocate, Jumani B. Williams. So thank you for listening. And again, if you need any further information, I'll be putting my contact info in the chat. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Tom. Next up from Al Taylor's office, Zoya.
Hi, everyone. My name is Zoya Abbas. I'm the communications coordinator for Assemblymember Al Taylor. I just have one very brief announcement. This Saturday, we'll be hosting two events. Both are located at the Polo Ground. The first will be a Love Your Community Day, where we'll be hosting a community cleanup to clean up the Polo Ground. In addition to that, if you all know where the Associated or also Shop Fair supermarket is, right about where Harlem River Drive intersects with 8th Avenue, we will be doing a free community shred event with AARP. The hours for these events are from 11 a.m. or 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. That is all for me in my office. If you have any questions, I'm happy to drop my information below, but that is all. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Zoya, I appreciate it. Danny O'Donnell's office. Miriam?
Check the participant. I wonder if she's in. I wonder if she's in.
Okay, all right, that concludes elected officials. We'll move on to our action items. First action item is coming out of Health and Environment. Check resolution to protect and respect the rights of protesters and residents of MCB9.
So, very quickly, our chair, Victor, referenced this earlier in his report, how there are numerous members of the community who were very concerned about the not only the heavy presence of the NYPD, but actual incidents that created intimidation and harassment. So this resolution was developed because we do have community policing, but we're not sure that kicked in once the police were called. But we're encouraging underscoring the importance of civil liberties in a democratic society. We want to make sure that there's not the perception of intimidation and harassment among peaceful protesters, but also these certain actions by NYPD in a context where high tension and potential misunderstanding could escalate became and into severe conflicts to create more problems. So I'm hoping you read most of it, and what we want to resolve is the peaceful, just ensuring the peaceful assembly, adopting the NYPD, adopting de-escalation of techniques, because there were a number of incidents that happened. The community directly involved
were really intimidated by what they considered overwhelmed and militarized zone. And it could happen anywhere. It was just quite rapid. Although we did notice some difference in how Columbia University situation is slightly different than at CCNY. So the establishment of an oversight committee at CB9 was advocated in this red zone that includes diverse stakeholders and also accountability measures in violations of so that's our resolution. And even if some of it has failed, I think it's still something that we need to ensure in our community.
Questions?
I request unanimous to pass the resolution.
Please. Having the meeting, please. Thank you. Unanimous consent. Second. Okay. Any objections?
Elise is objecting. All right, we will go to a roll call vote. All right,
All right, that's fine. Let's get it.
Walter Alexander.
Yes.
Okay, April Adams. Joyce Adewume. Miriam Ersty Ferrer. Chris Berry. Tricia Caldwell. Nicholas Camilo. Mr. Camilo. Oh. Felipe Castillo.
Yeah.
Vanessa Kaufman.
Yeah.
Joshua Christopher. Unmute, vote.
Yes, sorry, yes.
Okay. Dan Clark, Sojourner Collier, Juan Colmenares, Gretchen Connolly, Carlton Davis.
Yes.
Justin Dent, Ms. Dunn,
Yes.
Elizabeth Eastman, Victor Edwards,
Yes.
Lydia Garrison,
Yes.
Ernesto Graham, John Martin Green, Daria Hardiman, Monique Hardin Cordero, Laquita Henry,
Yes.
Michael Iglesias, Heather Jason, Chris Johnson,
Yes.
Tiago Keel, Ted Kovalev, Ted. All right, Tina Lumley, Deirdre McIntosh Brown, Ilana Mercado, Clotilde Longoya,
Yes.
Reverend Morgan Thomas, Signe Mortensen, Julia Nagel, Solomon Prophet, Annette Robinson,
Yeah.
Clayton Sanford, Veronica Savage, Carolyn Thompson, Pat Watler Johnson, Liz Whiteakis, Francina Waring. Ms. Waring? Yes, okay. Barry Weinberg is a yes. Divine Essence White.
Yeah.
Shanika Wilson. Elisa Yu. All right, that is one opposed and we'll count the yeses. Does that count? 32 yeses and one no.
Thank you.
I wanted to be counted as not voting in favor or opposed. Can we put that down?
Yes, so we have 32 yeses, one opposed and one abstention.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ted.
Nick.
Next, moving on. Motion of the 998 suicide crisis lifeline.
We had a presentation by Department of Health and mental hygiene and primary.
Unanimous consent, I heard.
Okay.
Yes.
Friendly amendment.
Then I told it and you can wait forever. I just want to put a friendly amendment there, but people staffing. Put that in because you can, I've called and waited like over half an hour. It's ridiculous. So we need more people staffing.
So the friendly amendment would be right before be it finally resolved on the second page, the friendly amendment, Ilana, correct me if I'm wrong, be it further resolved that CB9 urges additional funding for additional staffing at the 988 hotline to reduce call wait times. Semicolon and. All right, we'll get that from the transcript.
And the main thing is they also need more promotion time for 988 to encourage the 988 number being used. They don't want people to call 311.
They use everything.
What's her?
All right, item number 4.
This is three.
Sorry.
Okay. This reso, to objection to the proposed budget cuts to the emergency food fund.
Walter. Any objections? Yeah. Okay, good. All right, good. Item 4.
And with that,
Got it, at least read it. Time.
I just want to say that I know on the phone line, we couldn't hear everything that Ms. Smith, Merle Smith had to say, but she is going to be working with us and is working with us on a program. We found her through our own Clotilde Mongoya related to sickle cell disease, and she helped push through the measures in the legislature in New York City. And then, of course, we have the New York State legislature for enhanced measures for sickle cell disease management. So basically what this proposal is doing with all the this recent gene therapy success, well, we hope will be successful. It basically just creates more information about the disease and helps funding to help in the management of screening and treatment of the disease.
What'd you say,
And
Karen?
basically,
Okay.
oh. We're basically supporting the New York State and New York City legislation, which has already been passed. Mayor Adams did not sign it. Oh. Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Yes.
No objections? Unanimous
Thank you,
consent?
everybody.
Great.
Thank you.
So that's everything out of health?
Yes.
And I just want to take a moment to really thank the health committee who's put forward some great resos in the past month or two. So really thank you. Plus the sickle cell piece is coming up. Looking forward to that. Walter.
Yeah, it was, we voted it, yeah.
Yeah.
But, you know, no, we voted it
Thank you so much.
Yes. Item number 5, letter of denial for 43 St. Nicholas Place.
Item number 5 is simply to ask the members to vote yes or Photo lines came before us for the design to be in compliance. We went through many opportunities. They have not met those requirements. They are in the process of going before the LBC at a later date. They're unprepared. So at this time, we want to be on record that we cannot provide a letter of support. Once they are prepared, they can come back and we will review them again at a later date. But for now, we're voting not to give them a letter of support. Don't you table that?
But we're submitting a letter of denial.
Yes. No, we're not saying, don't you, we're gonna be on record that we are not in the approval of their initial presentation.
No, Abstain.
Okay, that's still, is anyone else abstaining from the CODA letter? 2 abstentions. Okay, but is anyone actually objecting to unanimous consent once abstentions are noted?
Okay.
The, to abstain.
Yeah.
Carolyn
And Lafita. No, it's been seconded.
Right, next item up. Number 6, 701 West 135th Street. Coming out of housing land use.
Housing land use, good evening, everyone. So this is a resolution to vote to deny 6 land use actions subject to the city's land use review process known as ULURP. So this is for 701 West 135th Street. The gentleman who presented during general session, they did give us a full presentation on Tuesday night to the Calvin land use and zoning. We did have a forum and we was not unanimous, but it was an agreement for the
I have a friendly amendment.
Modify the resolution a little bit.
And is it in the written form?
It's not in what you sent around, but it is on the one that's on.
Can we pull up on the timeline? Well, actually, so can we share the screen on this letter right now? So Riverside Park Conservancy submitted a letter today expressing their concern about the impact of the development. Hold on.
Oh.
That's gonna be a screen. It's not.
So Riverside Park is formally expressing concerns about the impact of the adjoining public park space and view shed. They have not fully had time to review the EAS, but some of their staff members have reviewed parts of it. They reference the environmental justice area in which it is located and the view site 135th Street in Riverside and the projected bulkhead from the development, as well as the local law 97 building requirements that may result in additions on the roof that may further compromise the view site. And then there is some shading on the park. Can we scroll down? That's the other point. Airflows and Jenny's garden. Okie dokes. So can we get Liz's copy up? Thanks.
It's just in the.
Oh, it's in our. Hold on, I can. No, that was what I sent you. No. So, I'm gonna. So, my friendly amendment, which may or may not be mooted by Liz's amendments, is a final whereas clause before the while clause. So on the back of the paper, all right. In the back of the paper, the proposed language is whereas the Riverside Park Conservancy expressed concerns regarding the impact of the proposed development in their May 16th, 2024 letter to MCB9, citing its location in a New York City environmental justice area, its impact on the community view site at 135th Street and Riverside Park, and its potential impacts on Jenny's garden at 138th Street among other concerns. Among other concerns, semicolon. So if you go back to the chat in Zoom. I think I won't fit.
They have the city.
Like, so that is that taken as a friendly amendment, Liz?
Yes.
Okay. And the link. Okay, copy. Yeah. And new link. All right, so while Madison shares it on the Zoom, the text of the modified reso, which includes the mention of the which hearing?
April 1st. It is.
Oh, cool.
I think the only other change is in the wild cards. I just said after, while Manhattan Community Board 9 is eager to see new MIH development at 40 to 60% of AMI, as envisioned in the applicant's proposal. Based on the aforementioned concerns, we find that this location is not suitable for residential development.
Absolutely. All right.
Second.
But. Clayton has a question.
I'd like to check. I'm going to vote bill. We're going to choice of some number of units or 0 units. And then second, we are not an engineering committee. I'm going to trust that if it is an unsuitable project, that Amtrak will reject it. And I would like to leave this to them rather than us making a judgment on their behalf. This might be a solo vote, but I'm going to face it.
We have human beings that last.
Wait, hold on.
All right, he made his point.
Yeah, just if I'll contribute to further discussion, I mean, it hurts me to see a proposal with 40 to 60% of AMI units not be voted in favor of at this board, but I think that there are legitimate land use concerns about the suitability of that piece of land for residential development. And, you know, I think that with the repair of the street, because the street has collapsed in front of that building, with the repair of the street and sewer and the reconnection to electrical and gas, the site will be more attractive again for commercial and manufacturing uses, which are currently permitted there. So you want to?
Hold on. This was in the news, New York Times. The fact of the matter is that Amtrak, that train has to relocate all plates in order for treatment to be built in that property. But in order to endanger all the lives that they cannot have nothing to do with the environment protection. There's nothing talking about the foundation and ground that will guarantee stability and longevity of those people. We don't know what's going to happen with global warming. So it is a lot. So categorically, not only would I object to building housing on this property until they find out the stability of the land, I categorically not approve of anything being built. Measures taken to make sure that it's stable.
So, as Victor has just reminded me, I'm going to call out a roll call vote. If you vote yes on this resolution, you are voting to recommend disapproval of the 6 land use actions requested by the developer. So a yes means you are against the development. A no means you are against the reso saying no to the development. Okay, Walter Alexander, April Adams, Joyce Hadamume. Okay, I'll come back. Miriam Mercy Ferrer, Chris Berry, Patricia Caldwell, Nicholas Camilo, Felipe Castillo.
No.
Vanessa Kaufman. Joshua Christopher.
Abstain.
Daniel Clark, Sojourner Collier, Juan Colmenares, Gretchen Connolly, Carlton Davis.
Yes.
Justin Dent. Marita Dunn.
Yes.
Elizabeth Eastman. Victor Edwards.
Yes.
Lydia Garrison.
Yes.
Ernesto Graham. John Martin Green. Daria Hardiman. Monique Hardin Cordero.
Yes.
Laquita Henry. Michael Iglesias. Abstain. Heather Jason. Chris Johnson.
Yes.
Tiago Keel. Ted Kovalev.
Yes.
Great. Tina Lumley. Deirdre McIntosh Brown.
Yes.
Ilana Mercado. Clotilde Mongoya.
Abstain.
Reverend Morgan Thomas. Signe Mortensen. Julia Nagel. Solomon Prophet. Annette Robinson.
Yes.
Clayton Sanford. Veronica Savage. Carolyn Thompson.
Yes.
Patricia Watler Johnson. Liz Whiteakis. Francina Waring. Barry Weinberg votes yes. Divine Essence White. Shanika Wilson. Elisa Yu. All right. Joyce Adume. There we go. 34. Oh, okay.
And 6 people yes, 2 no, and 6 yes.
So 26 yeses, 2 nos, and how many, 6 abstentions. So as a reminder, this then gets sent to the City Planning Commission, who then takes it under consideration. There will be a public hearing. People can go to testify at the public hearing. If they recommend that it proceed anyway, it will go to the City Council, where there will be another hearing and then a vote.
All right. Thank you. Next up, action items, liquor licenses.
Thank you, Mr. Barlota.
Thanks.
Okay.
Uniform. Uniform. Sir.
Good night. All of the liquor licenses have been approved by the precinct. There were no issues, just to myself, no issues at any of them.
I request unanimous consent for the new liquor license application.
Second.
Okay. With Reverend Caldwell and Heather Jason abstaining.
Who else? Elisa Yu. So 3 abstentions. Heather
And,
Jason.
new person.
And S.
And after.
Julia, okay, great. Renewal,
Wait, anybody objecting? No? Do I have to do a roll?
any
call?
objections?
Yeah, we got the
We
abstention.
got this, yeah, we got this.
All right, Karen, back to the renewals.
Renewal.
Greenwood Lake is Harlem Public.
Yeah.
I request unanimous consent
Second.
for both.
The vote? Abstain.
1 abstention, 2 abstention, 3 abstention.
We're doing the renewals.
Yep, Julia Nager, Reverend Falwell, Heather, and Elisa Yu abstaining. Then second.
Yeah.
Thank you, Senator.
Any old business? Before the board, any old business? Hearing none, any new business? Second. Motion to adjourn.
Aye.
Much.
9:04.
9:04. You all.
Anybody else have?
Pat.
Yeah, I was told Ronnie I got it. Or email.
Adios.
Let's do it.
Thank you.